Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. Hey, Nick Collier here, and we're going to get started on our project in a few minutes, but I want to tell you this story because it's pretty exciting to me. Last spring, early spring, a guy came up to me and asked me if I was interested in buying some machine tools. Yeah. So I went over and had a look, and I guess the father-in-law had passed, and he was a machinist, and I bought a bunch of stuff over the next couple of months here and there whenever I could afford it, and I kept looking at this mill right here. And I kept looking at it and checking it out to see if it was okay and everything. And he made a deal with me for me to sell some of the tools, and I'd get a percentage of the take. So we tried to sell this mill several times, and we almost sold it a couple of times, and I kept looking at it. And I guess the story is that the old guy retired in the 80s and bought this mill new, and then put it in his little hobby shop because he was retired, and used it every Sunday afternoon to go to the grocery store. You know the story. And I checked the ways, I checked everything. This thing has got so few miles on it, I can't tell you. And so I ended up, actually what happened is I ended up with a pretty good sized job at one point late spring, and I ended up with enough money to be able to spring for this. And so I got it, I put it in the shop, took about a month to get it here, and then it sat over in the corner over there, and I cleaned it up and did it and put the DRO on and put the power feeds on, and and I even got a knee feed. Oh man, I'm telling you, that is the best thing going. Just kind of spiffed it out and made it look good. And I've used it once so far, and it was just for a little project. This time I'm going to be using it officially for not a huge project, but a bigger project. We're going to make 30 of the same piece, and I'm going to show you that. Let's see, can you see it? Yeah, you can probably, well, maybe not because it's got light behind it. We're going to turn around. Oh, much better, huh? Okay, you can see it's just basically a bracket cut at an angle with 3 holes in it. Pretty simple. The holes are fairly accurate. The cuts are not. And I make 30 of them and send them on. And they're made out of aluminum. So we're going to go over and cut an aluminum piece first, or cut a bunch of pieces, and then we'll come back over to the mill and start whittling away. Okay, well, we've cut a number of pieces, and we've got a few more to cut. We'll just pull this out till it hits the stop, and then make sure that we're square up against the fence, and we are. And then start cutting. And I don't know if you've ever had this problem, but if we're cutting aluminum, and so I put a little lubricant on there, and the only thing to keep it from jamming is just a little bit of wax on the blade itself. And then once it gets down to the bottom, I have to come in and clear the chips because they start building up on the blade. You'll see. So here I've taken an old piece of shit brush and I'm just rubbing it up against the blade, and all of the aluminum chips are flailing off. And there we go. And if I didn't clear the chips with this old brush, the blade would jam, and then it'd pop off the wheels, and then we're looking for trouble. So we've got I don't know 14, 15 more to cut, and once we get that done, we'll see you. Just to give you a heads up, this was my original mill that I've used for I don't know, I've had it for 5 or 7 years now, and so I drug. When I first brought the new mill in, I put it right there. It's kind of at the corner of my shop, out of the way a little bit, and still usable. And then when I got that mill done, I moved it to the other end of the shop, and then moved this one out and slid this one over in place right here. And so we're going to take this one, we're going to clean it up a little bit, make it look spiffy, maybe even throw a paint job on it, and then holy shit, look at that. In a couple of seconds, the damn thing transformed itself. If you're looking to buy a Bridgeport like this, 1961 vintage, I have an ad on Craigslist in the Sacramento Craigslist. All right, well, the first thing we want to do is come in and just skim that top edge, flip it over, skim the other edge, just so that we have an accurate and consistent measurement of thickness. So crank it up. That's a pretty good speed. We'll bring it up. Bring this down. Okay, maybe a little slow. Let's make sure we're spinning the right way. We are. All right, we'll lock that and we'll bring our table up to it. And we'll take 10. I can hear it's getting ready to bog down that motor, so we're gonna put it in low gear and run our motor at a little bit higher speed. I don't know, that shell mill is a little dull, so I'm having problems with it, so I think it's time to get it sharpened. Let's put something else in. All right, well, we've got the first side cut on all of them. Now we're going to flip this over and do the back side. And the back side gives us the actual measurement we want, which is we're needing to cut about 75 thousandths off of this on one pull. So we just crank it in, everything's all set, and start her rolling. And normally, while I'm cutting this next one, I take my last piece and take it over and deburr it. But this thing makes so much noise that I couldn't deburr it and have you hear me. So we're going to take it over to the grinder and deburr it. Be right back. All right, so we've got some pretty hefty burrs on there. That's that for that part of it. And as I said, while I'm deburring this, I'm running the next piece, but you're not going to be able to hear it, so we'll just not run it for now. I'm just kind of taking off those rough edges, because I know that later on this is going to be, I'm going to have to do it, and while I'm cutting the other piece, why not just take off as many rough edges as I can. And I think that pretty much does it. We've got one rough edge right there that I want to just kind of kiss, just to make sure that when I put this down on the table to cut the holes and to do the other things, that little piece doesn't raise it up that 4 or 5 thousandths. That's going to give it a problem. All right, there's finished so far, and I'm feeling the edge out here too. Okay, we'll be back. Well, here's 2 of the 34 pieces I eventually did. So we'll just kind of fast forward it for you so you don't get too bored. well, that's that for that. At least that part. We've got about, oh, I don't know, 6 or 8 more steps to take, and follow along. We're having a good time. Now, I made 5 of these for this guy before he needed an emergency 5, so I whipped out 5 of them for him, and I learned some lessons from it. And what I did is I came up with a piece of 2x4 aluminum, and I ended up with a ton of scrap. So I thought, well, hey, how about if we just flip this around and do a 2x6, which is what this is, and then just cut it in half. And he was happy with that, and so that's what we're going to do, and we're going to have, like, you know, almost no scrap. In fact, no scrap, just a bunch of dust. So we'll come back soon once this dries out, and hey, we'll keep Okay, going. So we've got our ink, and we can measure this, but it's at such weird angles, I can't get a measurement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just scribe a line and then come over here and scribe another line, and we'll know that we need to be, oh, about halfway in between those. Let's see what that looks like. That looks like the deal right there, huh? Let's see if we can get it right in the center. I'm liking that one. Let me get a protractor. So understand that my customer here, he was very specific on how accurate I need to be, and it's going to be a tight one. It's within 25 thousandths plus or minus. Yeah. Okay, I was going to do it by hand, but you know, why mess around here? We've got the mill and the DRO that it's going to give us all the measurements we need to take this to the right place. So we're going to go right to the point. And remember, as I said a few minutes ago, he has me on a very tight measurement schedule here. I have to stay within 25 thousandths plus or minus. So I think we can pull that one off, huh? But we're going to get it in as close as we can get it eyeball. And to me, that looks pretty good. Let me bring it just a little bit more. All right, so that is the bottom, which is where we want to be. And that is that flat. Can you see it? No, you can't see it. And we're just going to play with it. Well, maybe we can just kind of do it like that and bring everybody back a bit. Yeah, that might work. All right, let's see what we got here. Yep, you can see it. The background isn't too bright, but sometimes it's brighter when it goes online. Okay, so we've got from this point to this point, we've got 1/800. So that's from here. Let me make sure we've got that right. So it would be from there to there, 1/800. Right, so we're going to go, we're not even going to measure that 1/800 because it doesn't really matter. We're pretty close. We're going to go to this front edge. like about right there. And remember, plus or minus 25 thousandths. So that's our 800 right there. That's not going to work, is it? Because we have to go parallel down to the bottom there. Let's see, how can we do this? Yeah, that's not going to work. All right, we're going to go another direction. All right, to the bottom, it's going to be 2480, 2480, and then from this side, it's going to be 2480. Okay, first thing we want to do is let's bring our protractor over until it's matching up with this angle. There we go. And we had 2480, takes us right to there. And supposedly that's going to take us right across. Flip this around and we have two 480 is going to take us right to there, which is going to give us the saw blade thickness. There's 2480. All right, perfect. Okay, so now if we're having this way, then someplace out here is our hole, or our center line, and I'm not seeing the center line. There's something. Okay, I got it. Okay, straight down from here, whoops, 1/800. Well, actually, let's just go back to here because we've got that line already. So straight down and then out 820. To our center. Um, 7, 8. There's 20. Okay. And we could probably just come off of this if there's enough room. There it is right there. And that's our center line for the hole. And then up is 365. Okay. Up from here is 350, 65. Well, that doesn't seem right. All right, well, somehow these measurements are not quite on the money. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to strike an arc and see where center is. So we've got a 3/8 hole, And then we have 820, 365 radius. Okay, that's good. Let's give that a try. Three. 365. Okay. So we go from here. Strike an arc. And then from here, strike an arc. And there's our center line. There's our center line, or our center point. And let's see how that's going to play out. And that looks pretty good. This looks like it could be a bit more. No, not really. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Okay. So there's our center point. All right. Can you see that? Let's come in closer. Okay, so we've got our center point there, and here's where the arc is going to come around, and our center point there, and there's where that side of the arc is going to come around. So now all we need to do really is to, I think what I want to do is I want to drill the two holes individually, I mean with the thing as a unit, and then cut it in half later. So let's go over to the mill and drill some holes. All right, well, we've set the thing up so that we can drill two holes, one on either side of this, and then we just go ahead and cut it off right down the center, and it will be two pieces, which is what we want. And this first hole is on 0, and then the next hole goes up to 460 on X and 815 on Y. Let's go ahead and start drilling and see what we can do. Then I index that little corner right there because I'm going to come back and ream this. All right, there's 0. Now we go 815. There's 811. There's 815 almost. 15, come on. And then this direction, we go 460. 50, 60. And drill that hole. All right, so now comes time to cut this whole thing in half. We've got our test piece in. We're going to bring it up. There we go. Somewhere in there is probably pretty good. We can come down to meet it. Come in with my cheater glasses. Come in real close. Down. A little bit further down. Let's see what that looks like. We're going to go slower. Yep, too high. Alright, let's take it down a bit. Oh. Take it up a bit. That might actually be it. Let's see what it looks like. A little bit low. We'll take it up just a couple of thousandths. See what that does. Okay, up a little bit more. A couple of thousandths. Too high. I think that's going to do it. Looks pretty good. Alright, we'll lock the gibs on that one just so that it doesn't come loose accidentally.